Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the South Edmiston Community Church. It is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to every mother out there that watches this. I am Pastor Rob Lloyd. Today we are going to be talking, obviously, about mothers and Mother's Day. We're going to talk about the difference between a mother and a mom. There's plenty of mothers in the Bible, but not as many moms. So stick around and hope you enjoy the message. So as we get into the message today, again, so those of you who are on devices, you're going to have to flip over to the King James instead of the English Standard like we're usually at. So I'll ask you to flip over to that. And if the verbiage is a little difficult, it may be for some. Remember, it was translated in 1611, so we're pretty close to Shakespeare times. So we'll go with that. I'm going to ask you to start off with, we're going to go to 1 Kings chapter 3. We're going to be looking at verses 16 through 27. And this passage is directly after King Solomon goes to the Lord and asks for wisdom. Wisdom in leading his people. And this whole passage is always used to show the wisdom of Solomon. But everyone knows that I'm a little different in the way I sometimes look at things and the spin that I take on things. And being Mother's Day, we're going to look at the mothers that are in this, and we get done now, we're going to bounce into the New Testament a little bit as well. But we're going to be looking at the mother aspect in this, aside from the wisdom of Solomon. Solomon was the wisest man to ever live. Scripture tells us that. And it's a very interesting story how this all comes together and how he uses his wisdom with these two women. So if you're with me in, again, 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 16 through 27. Then came there two women, they were harlots, unto the king and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house. And I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass on the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. And the woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I arose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. And when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, The one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. Then spake the woman, whose the living child was, unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divided. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. So we think of how this story went on. And again, it's a little more difficult to understand in the King James. So a brief synopsis of it. We've got two prostitutes living in a house together. And it says there they were the only ones there. There was no one else there. It's those two and the two babies. That's all that's in the house. The one woman laid on her child, smothered her child, and the child died. So she swapped babies with the other mother while she didn't notice it. The other mother wakes up, oh, my baby's dead, when she goes to nurse the child in the morning, and then looks at it and says, considers, that's not my kid. This kid is only a few days old, but come on, moms, you know what your child looks like at a few days old, let's be real. I know as a father, I know what my child would look like at a few days old. Mothers, even more so, let's be real. So you know, this is not my son. Oh, that is my son. So then they get in an argument about it. And in that argument, oh no, it's not, it is, back and forth. So what do? Well, at that time, the king was the judge. So you go basically to court, to the judge, and here's your argument. So they go in front of the judge, the wisest man that ever lived, being King Solomon, and king, what should we do? That's my kid. No, it's not. Yeah, well, it is. Yes, it's not. Well, arguing back and forth. How interesting of a way to choose whose child it was. Servant, go get me a sword. I'm going to cut this baby in two and give half of it to each. This is how we know the difference between a mom and a mother. And that's what I want to look at today, the difference between a mother and a mom. With some exceptions, just about any woman can be a mother. But it takes someone very special to be a mom. It's basic genetics to be a mother. But to be that mom, that takes that something special. That takes that love, it takes that caring, it takes more than just biological happening. So we've got what I would consider here a mother and a mom. The one mother agrees, yeah, cut it in half. Because if I can't have my baby, you're not going to either. Does that kind of ring true in our society right now? If I can't have it, you can't have it. For some reason I don't have it, I don't want you to have it either. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to maybe, are they friends? We don't know. They might have been friends or living in the same house together. Instead of saying, my child died, help me grieve. But I'm going to help you raise this child. We don't know if that's either one of these women's only child. We don't know if they had many children. We have no idea. All we know is they're two baby boys. And instead of, can you grieve with me? And I will help you raise your child. I will help you along the way. She tries to steal the baby away. Again, look at our society. If I can't have it, you can't have it. If you have it and I want it, I am going to do anything I have to do to take it. The old statement, there's nothing new under the sun. Sin is sin. There's nothing new under the sun. This was happening back then. It's still happening today. Jealousy is still happening today. Desire to have something that's not yours, it's still happening today. We can't be just happy with what we have. We can't be happy with what the Lord has given us. We always need to strive for that something more. Something more than what our neighbor has. Something more than what our friend has. And we compare. Can't imagine what this one woman was going through. She laid on her baby, smothered it, and died. Can't imagine the pain that she was going through at this point. But she chose the wrong thing. And then when they're in front of Solomon, and he's passing judgment on what to do, we look at what the mom did. Give her the child. That mom was going to do anything she could do to keep that baby alive. Because she knew even if she couldn't raise that baby, at least that baby was alive. At least he would be able to grow up. Maybe I couldn't be that mother figure to that baby, but that baby would still be able to grow up. The difference between a mother and a mom in this situation. I think King Solomon could look upon their heart. I think he could understand where their hearts were. And that's why he put such a judgment on them of cut this baby in half, kill this baby, knowing that one would be like, yeah, okay, whatever, and the other one, the true mom in this situation, would not have any of it, would not allow that to happen. I truly believe that's the bigger story in this than Solomon's wisdom, but the heart of a true mom in this. The heart that a mom has to have for their children. So now we're going to jump into the New Testament. We're going to look into Luke 2. Anyone who knows what Luke 2 is about, it's a very interesting mom. We're going to be hitting 2:19, we're going to start, and then we're going to bounce from there to staying in Luke 2, where we're going to look at 41 through 51 after that. So we turn to Luke 2:19 to start with. And this is a little backstory on it. This is Mary had her baby. Baby Jesus was born. That whole big angels coming and speaking to the shepherds coming and speaking to them. The big scene had happened. Now the shepherds were leaving. And one verse that always stands out to me in this, again, Luke 2:19, but Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. Again, the heart of a mom. She didn't, it doesn't say anything about her saying anything to the shepherds. It doesn't say that she rejoiced with them. She just sat back, looked at what was happening around her, kept all these things, like held them, meditated, pondered them in her heart. Didn't just kind of think about it. Pondered meaning meditated on it. I guarantee she prayed on it. Lord, look at, I can't imagine what you're doing here in our lives. You did such an amazing thing with these shepherds, and then they came. Mm-hmm. And to see my baby, really? Mary wasn't some royalty. She was just a woman God picked because he knew her heart, knew what type of person she was, to be the mother of his one and only son here on earth. For him to come down and be born of a baby, picked Mary to be the mother. Because you can tell Mary's heart here, kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. And more than just pondered, but meditated on it. Undoubtedly prayed on it. So we're still with Mary here. Still in Luke 2, jumping ahead to verse 41 through 51. This is just a short time after this. And she's with Joseph and the baby Jesus in the temple. Jesus is now a big, strong 8 days old and being dedicated at the temple. So if you're with me in Luke 2, verse 41 through 51. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year for the feast of the Passover. Oh, I'm in a different spot here. We're just going to go with this. Forget that history lesson. Now his parents were in Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. And when they had fulfilled the days, as they returned, the children of Jesus tarried behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother knew not of it. But they, supposing him to have been in the company, went a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinsfolk and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass, after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said to him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. And he said unto them, How is it that ye sought me? Or wist ye not that I must be about my father's business? And they understood not the saying which he spake unto them. And he went down with them, and came to Nazareth, and was subject unto them. But his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. She didn't quite understand why this all happened, but she kept it in her heart. Again, Mary, I'm assuming, was a very quiet person and a very thoughtful person with a big heart. And she kept these things in her heart. But picture this, and sometimes I've heard people kind of bashing Mary and Joseph because they are heading back and they didn't even know that their child wasn't with them anymore. Geez, how do you know your kid's not with them? All right, let's think of this in a bigger picture standing. Parents, do we always know where our 12-year-old is in a big group of people? Does that 12-year-old really want to hang out with mom and dad all the time?
Don't look at me.
No.
Seems like we got someone about that age here. But think about that. As mom and dad, they are traveling with their friends, their family. This is a big, like a caravan of people leaving Jerusalem, heading back home. If you are in a big group of people with all friends and family, and remember, back then, a Jew became an adult on their own at 13. So as a parent, if your child is an adult at 13, do you give them a little bit of freedom at 12? You're going to have to, because otherwise they are going out on their own and they are going to mess everything up if you don't give them a little bit of freedom. So here you are in a big group of people. They're giving their kid some freedom because they have to. They have to allow him to learn things on his own. You're among friends and family anyway. I mean, again, kids not going to hang out with parents because of teenagers.
No.
Think about it. Were they bad parents for this? No. They were doing the exact same things we do. I know we go to a ball game or something. I don't have a clue where my daughters are. I know they're with friends. I know that. They're going to come back at the end of the game. It's no big deal. We have to give them that freedom. So, Mary and Joseph, giving Jesus that freedom. Doesn't say how far out they were. A lot of people say, oh, they were 3 days' journey. Were they? Or did they spend a lot of time scouring Jerusalem looking for their son? How frantic were these parents looking for their son? They looked around the people who were there. Jesus is not there. He's the only one we're assuming is not there. Where is he? Again, people think, well, it was a 3 days journey out, so it was a 3 days journey back, and they went right to the temple and found him. Not necessarily. While they were there worshiping, were they at the temple the entire time? Or were they visiting other people? Were they at a hotel at the time? We don't know where they were. But we do know they were in the city. It's not a small city by any means. It's not like you're driving around, you don't have your cell phone, you're not texting and saying, yo, Jesus, where are you? You got no way of knowing. You can't call anybody. You can't anything. You're going to scour the city. Yes, she knows. Yes, Joseph knows as well that this child is the Son of God. But if our child goes missing, is the first place we're looking the church? Probably not. Is the first place they're going to look the church? Probably not. They're going to retrace their steps of where they've been. Look at the mother aspect of this. If your child is missing for about 5 seconds, how much are you freaking out already, Mom? 3 days. We don't have Amber Alerts. 3 days you're searching for your child. And you walk into the temple. Did they go to the temple as a last ditch finding him, thinking maybe he's there? Or did they think, maybe if we go to the priests, the Pharisees, anyone here, maybe they can help us. Maybe they can help us find our child. We don't know why they ended up at the temple, but they did. And then to come in, oh, why did you deal with us this way, Jesus? I picture he's up here talking with the teachers and the preachers, and they're having a good conversation. And here's Mary walking through the door. Jesus, hello! We've been looking for you. Where have you been? You know we left town. Mom is freaking out at this point. And his answer, didn't you know I'd be here? Didn't you know I'd be about my Father's business? Didn't you know I'd be doing this? Really? Back at Mom's like, drop you, kid. I love you, kid, but I'm about to drop you. Don't be talking to me this way. Oh, didn't you know I'd be here? Really? But you think about her heart. And then as they're leaving, it says he was subject unto them. Meaning he was totally obedient. He didn't argue about it. Come on, we gotta go home. Okay. He goes home. He was subject to them. He knew that he had to do what he was told to do. He knew he had to go back with them. Okay. I'm subject to you. Let's go. And then the way that little section ends there, again, Mary kept these sayings in her heart, thinking, I know what the angel said to me approximately 13 years ago. I know that this child is the Son of God, but wow, what just happened here? And she kept it in her heart. Again, the heart of a mom versus a mother. Now let's look at her, a mother, not a mom. What about, and we're not going to go there, but we'll just mentally go there. What about Rebecca back in the Old Testament? She had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Well, man, did she play favorites. She did everything she could for Jacob. I don't care about Esau. Jacob is my number one son. That's a mother, not a mom. Picking favorites between two sons to the point of stealing birthright, stealing the blessing, and being good with it, being complicit with it, being part of it. And if he finds out that that you're doing anything wrong, he finds out you're actually Jacob, not Esau, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I'll take the blame for it. I mean, yeah, it's great that she's willing to stick up for her son, but at the same time, she's the one that plotted this against her other son, plotted this against her husband for the favor of the one son. That's a mother, not a mom. That's biological. She's a mother, but she's not a mom. And we can think of a bunch of different places throughout the Bible where a mother, not a mom, comes in. But then let's step off that track just a little bit. Not long ago, we went into the story of Ruth. Ruth and Naomi. Naomi's sons had both passed away. But her mother instinct to be a mom, after saying to the daughter-in-laws, just go back, in her grief. And Ruth says, no, I'm not going to go back. She treated Ruth like her own daughter. So the thought of, do you have to specifically be a biological mother to be an awesome mom? No. Stepmoms, adoptive moms, you can be great moms without being the biological mother. And we see that all the time of an adopted mom or a stepmom really stepping up and loving that child and making that child their own. Not saying, well, that's my stepkid. No, that's my kid. That's my kid. We see it right here in this church between the steps and the adopted. That's my kid. We see it within our own church. That mom stepping up and having that heart for the children that biologically may not be theirs. So we'll go to John chapter 19. And in John chapter 19, we're going to look at verses 26 and 27. Now, what can we do for our moms? As children, a lot of us here have our moms still with us. Some don't. And on a day like today, it's very difficult to not have your mother with you when we're to honor our mothers. But let's think about, can we honor other mothers? Can we honor someone else's mother? Can we honor maybe our child who is a mother? Can we honor other mothers along the way and not just say, well, my mom's no longer here, so, oh well. Can we honor our wives as mothers? There's a lot of honoring we can do. So from Luke now into John, the tables have turned. The tables have turned a little bit from where we were. It's gone the other direction. So if you're with me in John 19, 26 and 27. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple standing by whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. And he said to the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour the disciple took her unto his own home. Now the background to this, remember, Jesus had taken such a massive beating. Jesus had been through what none of us could probably handle. He is now physically nailed up on a cross. He's physically nailed up there. There's a big group of people around him, most of which are against him, want to see this guy die. But his mother's there. And in John, the first thing that is recorded of him up on the cross, John, take care of my mother. Mom, this is now your son. Take care of my mother, John. Take care of her. He is in immense pain. Everything that could be going wrong in his life has gone wrong. The first thing in his mind to do, John, take care of my mom. I want to make sure she's taken care of. Because we don't have any idea what happened to Joseph between 12 years old and now. We assume he passed away. We don't know. Mary is completely on her own. She is on her own. And it's very interesting because Jesus had half-sisters and half-brothers. James, being one of his disciples, was a half-brother. But was he a good son? I mean, seriously, you're hanging on the cross, and your brother may or may not be there. We don't know exactly what disciples were there at that time. He may have been there, he may not have been there. But there is a time and a place where you say, you know what? You may be my half-brother, but I don't trust you, buddy. John, I want you to take care of my mother. He knew John's heart. Just like mothers, their heart is known. Just like Mary, keeping and pondering these things in her heart. Jesus was doing the exact same thing that he learned from his mother. Yes, he was God's only son, but he was veiled from all his godly knowledge and wisdom. He didn't have all of it. He had some of it, but he didn't have all of it. He veiled himself of that to have the true human feelings, the true human experience. He learned a lot from Mom. Mom had the great heart. The first thing on that cross, John, this is your mother now. You take care of her. As he is on that cross, knowing he is about to die, take care of my mother. Take care of her. We've got mothers all around us that we can help take care of that may not have children anymore, maybe elderly. Can we reach out to them? Can we be part of their lives, help them out? Their kids may not be here, just like Mary at this point. Maybe her children couldn't be trusted at that point, even though one of them was a disciple. As an individual, as a church, how can we help these people? How can we help these mothers that might be in need? How often do we just look beyond? versus how often do we step up and truly help? Again, individually or as a church. How can we help? Because we got to go back almost to the beginning here. When God said to Moses, giving him the 10 Commandments, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God has given thee. Honor your mother and your father. So it goes farther than just honoring your mother. Today we're honoring mothers. Well, honor your mother and your father. This is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it. It's not just, hey, honor them because you're going to be a nice person. Honor them that your days may be long upon the earth. And if we can get anything out of this today, we need to do more for our mothers. Even if they're not physically our mother, we need to do more for them, to honor them, to help them. We don't know what each individual person is going through. We don't know what's in their heart. But there may be a mother out there that we know, and we know they're not saved. Is it honoring our mother by going and trying to help lead that mother to salvation? I think it is. Is it honoring our father to do the same thing? I think it is. So let's think about that as our day goes on today. Thinking about mothers. Is there a mother we can reach out to and just say hi? Is there a mother maybe we can call up? Hey, I've been praying for you today. I didn't put out, for those of you on Facebook, a challenge today for a reason, because this is your challenge. A mother that's not your own, just contact her. Say hi. Say I prayed for you today. Just contact the mother. And it's even best if it's a mother that you know is stuck somewhere and can't get out. To honor that mother and honor your mother by doing it. It comes with a promise. Your days will be long upon the earth by honoring your mother. So let's do that today, and let's do that every day. Because just because this day was set aside to honor our mother doesn't mean tomorrow that we don't again. This doesn't start over again tomorrow, no. Sorry, Mom, can't be nice to you for another year. Really? Come on. Let's honor our mothers every day, and let's try to make their day special every day. Let's pray. Lord, again, we thank you for what you've given us in your word, what you have allowed us to get from it. We just thank you so much for it. We thank you so much for just our mothers and what they mean to us. Each one of us has special memories from our moms. Things that are going to be with us our entire life. These memories that come, the moments that mean so much along the way, Lord. We thank you for them, and we ask that you would help us to not let those memories fade, especially if our mothers are no longer with us. Just to not let those memories fade. Not let the memories fade of the grandmothers that we had or still have. To just honor moms, honor grandmothers, honor whether it be our sisters, our wives, mother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, anyone in our family that's a mother. Honor them as well, Lord. Just lay it upon our hearts to do that, to honor mothers today, but to carry it each and every day through our life. We thank you again for so much of what you do for us here in this church and what you have planned going into the future, Lord. We're excited to see things open back up soon and for the people to come back, and just excited for the plans that you have for us here in this church, Lord. We know you have it planned out. We just ask that you would lead us each step of the way through everything being reopened in your time, Lord, and just help us carry that excitement through it. We ask all these things, and we thank you so much. In the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Yeah, there's quite a difference between a mother and a mom. So let's remember that. Remember the differences between a mother and a mom. Most women can become mothers, but it takes a special woman to be a mom, to do what some of these people in the Bible did for their kids. I'd just like to urge all moms today to do that, and everyone else to just help along the way with their mothers. Honor them, respect them, help them, be part of their life, not just on Mother's Day, but every day. If you like this message, I would ask that you would hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to this channel, and hit that bell notification so you know when we upload these videos a couple times a week. Thanks for sticking around, and may God bless each and every one of you today.